This is part 2 to the lesson for April 5th, Thursday, 2019. Please skip a line in your notes to add this to it. Because of the victory at the Battle of Antietam, Abraham Lincoln decides that this is the best course of action for several different reasons we'll get into in a minute. Go ahead and pause this video for a second to go ahead and copy down these notes. If you have to move to page 75, please do so. The Emancipation Proclamation at first was a threat to the South, saying that they were going to release and make free the slaves in the South. He didn't really have that much authority in the South, of course. They were rebel states. But that sent a broad message to the slaves of the South, and of course to the entire country, who was wondering if we would really be half slave or half free. This was an announcement on January 1st that all slaves in the Confederate territory only would be considered free. Now remember, we had slave states that stayed in the Union. That didn't include those states. Lincoln had to be very careful because he didn't want to cause those states to secede and take to the southern side. So he only released the slaves in the southern states that were rebellious. Of course, this will change in the future. Here's a copy of what the Emancipation Proclamation looked like. Now, what were the results of this? Go ahead and skip a line. You're going to need this too. Why was this such an important document? Number one, instead of preserving the Union, this changed the purpose of the war to free African Americans from slavery. This also convinced Europe to stay out of the game. Remember, I told you in class that the United States at this time was one of the last countries to still have legal slavery. This also opened up the idea that blacks could enlist in the Union Army. And many came out eager to have the chance to fight back and fight for their freedom. And we'll talk about this in length later on in the week. And of course, it answered the question, if the war ended, would we be half slave or half free? With this document, it really told us yes, we would be a free nation and we would make slavery illegal in the entirety of the United States when the war was over. Please pause this video to take these notes. Many African Americans joined the fight, but many of them it was all black regiments, usually led by a white officer. And unfortunately, not many of these men got into combat fighting. Many were used for hard labor or digging trenches or latrines or that kind of servitude. But there was many, including Frederick Douglass's sons, that joined regiments such as the 54th Massachusetts. That was probably the most famous and courageous of all the black regiments. And we'll talk about that, as I said, in the future. They were a great band of men, very brave and courageous, and fought just as much as the white men for half the pay and half the supplies they were given. Your closing task today. There are 2 Edpuzzle video assignments. I want you to watch both videos and answer the questions, and they will be graded. Now you can rewatch and move through every segment of this. When you get to a question you're not sure what the answer is, rewatch it, and you can toggle to where you think the answer is on the video. Now once you answer a question, you can't go back, so make sure you are sure of your answer. If you have not joined our Edpuzzle. If you look below, you go to edpuzzle.com, join, and use the code on the back of the URL to join the class that you belong to. Let me know if you have any questions or comments in class, and I'll see you tomorrow.